everybody, welcome back to Game Bro Station. We're doing our first thoughts, viewing, thoughts, what have you, on the Pixar film Coco. So be warned, it should say in the title, but this is a spoilers review, so spoiler ahead, but I'm gonna try to be a little vague for those who are still kind of on the fence whether you want to go see this film or not. I'm just gonna break down the pros, the cons, and my overall thoughts on the film. The cons themselves might kind of tie in a little bit to spoilers, but overall, I just wanted to give you the heads up. So first thing I want to say about the film is that I think the animation is actually pretty damn good. So I've always said in the past that I always felt like Pixar themselves, they kind of been subpar animation in my opinion. And I'm not saying that it's bad animation, it's just Pixar, they are so good at what they do that they've kind of created like the base level of what a high film industry animated film animation should be. It's kind of grounded in reality, but it's not pushed far like say Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Hotel Transylvania, or even like Madagascar. You know how those films that got like crazy proportions and all the characters are stretching all over the place, things like that? Pixar themselves, they've always been good at simulating like real life physics to like stylized characters. But this time around, like I've made this comment before about Inside Out, is like I really liked how Joy was animated in her film. And I really like how the skeleton characters are all animated in this film. There's a lot of life, there's a lot of bounce to them. And I just think Pixar themselves, they're really improving and starting to like stray away from like realistic movements to a little bit more elaborate, more interesting ways of going about it. Another thing, obviously, that I gotta bring up is the art direction. I love how the world of the dead has been illustrated in this film. The visuals are spectacular. There's almost like very good use of spacing, in my opinion. Like every building, every billboard, every like the petals on the ground that lead to like certain things that are important to each individual. Just the details and the spacing, I thought they did a fantastic job. And I'm not trying to play the race card or anything. I'm a guy who has Latino background, but I don't know much about my Mexican heritage. But in my personal opinion, I really felt like it was represented pretty well in this film. Even though I can't entirely relate to my background because I don't really know much about it, there is a certain sense of familiarity I have with that. And I've known a few Latino friends who've had family members who kind of behaved in very similar ways. So in most other ways, I guess I can say is like I can kind of transfer myself to them and totally see where this world is coming from. But yeah, outside of that, the colors, the way all the things like contrast themselves with the blues and the orange with a little bit of pinks and the purples. Really fantastic compositions going on here, and I thought it was just stellar. Very beautiful art, guys. Fantastic job. The other thing I want to get into with this review is that we kind of have an overall theme of like, what is the message of the story? Why is Miguel trying to pursue his life in music when all of his family members are like, no music, be a cobbler or whatever? It all comes down to pursuing your dreams versus putting family first. And I thought that was a really interesting direction that the film itself is trying to pursue. Is pursuing your dream really all that worth it? Or maybe having a family, maybe like focusing on your family, that should take more priority over dreams, right? And I think that's what the strength of the film comes from, is like, where do you really draw the line between the two? And as the film goes on, like even in the beginning, I was kind of disagreeing with the family. It's like, oh, family comes first. Yeah, I get that, but you gotta let someone pursue their dreams, even though that's something that you may not like, or I don't want to say not like, but have not much knowledge in and just instantly like reject it altogether. But as the film went on, pieces fell into place and everyone was able to kind of like resolve some resentment issues between both the dreams and the family and come to like a mutual compromise, a basic understanding of each other. And I thought that was really well done. I'm telling you, man, there were like certain things out there that get me emotional, but when you throw the word family around, like in the Fast movies, family. It's kind of like, yeah, whatever, family. I'm ma, pa, sister, whatever. But it was tying more to like family that have long since passed. People who were in our family albums that may have passed away a few years ago or decades ago. And you're all about trying to remember them, keep them into your heart. Long story short, it has a very solid message in there about remembering who your family is, what they mean to you. They're there to support you, mostly. And you shouldn't be afraid to pursue your dreams, as long as you understand where you come from and the respect you give to your family, and they'll respect you in return, as long as you remember them. Sort of. Okay, so now This film has been a really great impact on me. I got emotional like 4 or 5 times. However, there were maybe a couple things in the film that kinda were a con for me, so I'll get right into that. First off, it's actually kind of something my cohort said to me, that he felt like he kind of knew everything coming. The story is a little predictable, and I'll admit, even I thought the story beats were kind of like formulaic. I hate saying that, but it did kind of feel like I knew things were coming on. And again, this is kind of where the spoiler thing comes about. So for a while, when Miguel is in the land of the dead, he's following Hector here. And for some time now, I thought to myself, maybe Hector is actually the great-great-grandfather of Miguel. And Dela Cruz was actually not related to Miguel, which Miguel was hoping for in the whole beginning after he found the matching guitar in his old family photo with the torn face and all that stuff. I thought it was a story where he misconstrued who his actual great-grandfather was, and Dela Cruz was like, oh, actually, I don't know you at all. You're not part of my family lineage at all. Have you considered looking elsewhere? And I thought the story was going to go in that direction, and it kind of did for a little while, but then it kind of pulled something which I kind of don't know how I feel about it, but I want to bring this to your attention. So another thing I kind of didn't like was the antagonist too much. I mean, he wasn't a bad villain, I'm not going to say that much, but for a while now, Pixar films have not really had a need for antagonists. So semi-spoilers for other films like that, like Finding Dory didn't have an antagonist, like a main bad guy. Inside Out did not have an antagonist, and I thought there would be one when I first watched it, but there wasn't. It was just a story of trying to correct a main character's flaw. Monsters U didn't have an antagonist, and those are some of the more recent Pixar films. Good Dinosaur is... But again, for a while, I thought Pixar was kind of saying, oh, you know what? We actually don't need a big baddie. We just need a conflict of which a character has created upon himself, and in order for him to overcome it, he has to learn his own issues and flaws and come to an understanding to resolve his issue. If that makes any sense, I guess. But in the end, the film itself did make Dela Cruz the antagonist, which makes sense as they explain in the story about him screwing over Hector for all the music to become famous. It's a pretty basic villain trope. So again, it's not a terrible con, it was just, for me personally, I was kind of expecting Pixar to be a little bit more grounded when it came to like issues that characters need to grow themselves in order to resolve. And throwing in a bad guy in there for the sake of just being a little formulaic disappointed me a little bit, but there was still a great emotional resolve during the whole thing. And I think that's where the film truly shines. Overall, this has been a really fantastic addition to Pixar's library. I had fun watching the world, and I had emotional moments while watching the film. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. I remember this one scene when Miguel, later on in the film, is trying to get a blessing from his great-great-grandparents. And in order to get the blessing, they kind of have to like verbally say it while handing him a petal that glows. And they said like, I promise to send you back to the living world, and under these conditions, which you will be there. And Miguel was expecting, oh yeah, okay, and no music. But then the characters corrected themselves and never forget your family. And as soon as they said that, I was trying to hold my own, but I just went... I actually had to apologize to my cohort and another guy sitting next to me. I was trying my best not to like break out during the emotional scenes, but that one just kind of hit me like a big old hammer of feelings. So overall, I give it 2 great thumbs up. How do you like that, baby doll? It's a great film. I highly recommend it. Check it out in your local theater, or if you don't have a soul like me, who's incapable of compassion, then you probably won't like the film. I'm capable of compassion. I'm special that way. So yeah, guys, if you saw the film, let me know what you think about it. Did you enjoy the film? Did you not like the film? Let me know what your thoughts are on the animated flick in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like, because that will always support us. Tune in next time, folks, when we review and share our first thoughts on another movie, game, I don't know. We've been mostly doing movies, so it'll probably be another movie. We'll keep you in the loop. Maybe not, I don't know. As my cohorts love to say, to be continued.